Hello, Kel67 Gaming here, back again with another favourite 5. This time I'm going to go through my favourite 5 games for a lesser known console. This is my favourite 5 games on the Atari 7800. Now, Atari has always had a very strong presence in the arcades, even from the very early games, when they had the likes of Asteroids. However, their home console, or the first main home console that they released was the 2600, which just graphically wasn't powerful enough to run or to do justice. It did run arcade conversions, but it didn't really do justice to them. That really wasn't put right until the 7800. This console really was Atari bringing their arcade experience into the home. In terms of performance, I think it's comparable to Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Master System. It's that kind of quality of console. And it was, for me, the perfect vehicle for some of the arcade games of the day. So, we've got to start with an arcade conversion, of course. This is going to be my 5th favourite game on the Atari 7800. So that's Dig Dug. Anybody who visited an arcade in the sort of early to mid 80s will be very well aware of Dig Dug. This is a very good home port when you consider the hardware available at the time. It is very good indeed. It's just a very good game. All these early arcade games are quite simple, but the idea of digging your way around, taking out the enemies, just timeless, absolutely timeless, and that's why it makes my list. You'll notice as we're going through this, I'm not going to spend too much time going into the games because I think everyone will know them anyway. With that being said, let's see how quickly you recognise my 4th favourite game for the Atari 7800. one was another arcade conversion, of course, a home port. This is Commando, which is the original of these sort of not quite top-down run and gun games. Sort of, there was other ones that came along. I think I've mentioned Atari Warriors and Rambo on previous lists. I think NES and Master System. So yeah, this one was the original, and this is obviously the best one that's available on the 7800. It's very playable. Graphically, obviously, it's a massive downgrade from the arcade game, but at the time you kind of have to expect that. So that's what we've got, a great conversion of a great game. Which means that very quickly, we're up to my third favourite game for the Atari 7800. So this one is Galaga, which of course is the sequel to Galaxian. For those who weren't around at the time, don't know what it was like, Space Invaders kind of broke the mould. That was the big breakthrough game for the arcades, and what Galaxian and subsequently Galaga did was take that format of the waves of attacking ships and just added a bit more to it, so you see that they dive and swoop on you and come in from the side of the screens and this sort of thing. It's just a massively enjoyable shooter. I can't say enough good things about it. If you've got a 7800, which I realise is quite unusual for someone to have, try and look out this game. If not, go to an arcade and play it. Absolutely brilliant game. Or you can, I believe, play it if you've got Ridge Racer on the PS1. You can play it while that's loading, is that right? That was definitely one of the Namco games where it was a loading game. So that was my third favourite game. Which means that we're up to my second favourite game for the Atari 7800. So my second favourite game is Asteroids. Obviously this being Atari's home console that was best suited for taking arcade conversions, they were going to put their marquee franchise on the system, and this was it. Obviously, visually it looks very different to the arcade game. The arcade game, of course, was done with vector graphics. This, because of, well, for a start, you can't have a plug-and-play vector graphics system because you need a specialist CRT to be able to display those graphics. But because they were doing this in pixels, and they had a big colour palette, I actually think that they've made this look pretty good indeed. I think especially if you stand it side by side with the far more popular 2600 version, the difference is just night and day. This is just a much prettier game to look at. So that was my second favourite. Which means the only place to go is my favourite game of all time on the Atari 7800. So my favourite game was also the pack-in game. This is pole position 2. Now if you watch my favourite 5 list for the Vectrex, you'll see that pole position 1 made that. I love the pole position games. Very simple, arcade racer. Graphically this stands up. If you've ever played the arcade game, which as it happens I have not too long ago when I was at NERG, graphically it's a downgrade, obviously. There's no two ways about it, but you know, it's not a million miles away. The arcade game wasn't the most, visually stunning game that was in the arcade. So you've got the gameplay, you've got decent graphics, all the tracks are accounted for, and you've got all your sessions, so you do your qualifying and your race. It just works. And to have this game in the home, just a brilliant thing. Certainly I can understand why they put it as the pack-in game. This was definitely a system seller. And that's my list. Now if you agree with me, then that's great. You've got brilliant taste. But that's kind of the end of that conversation. If you disagree with me, if you have a look down here, you will see that there is a comment section. Feel free to tell me what I should have put in there and why, what I should have left out and why. Definitely I'll be reading all the comments. I'd be very interested to know. So if you could do that, I would very much appreciate it. Also, while you're down there anyway below the video, can you please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Obviously it's a small channel we're trying to grow. That's the only way we're going to do it, is to get more subscribers. If you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe. And if you liked what you've seen, please hit the like button. Don't know how it helps, but apparently it helps. You can also, if you feel the need, share this video with anyone and anywhere. I would be very appreciative if you've done that. And until next time, keep gaming.